All right, 2022 officially, or 2021-2022 season officially over. Sam, welcome back. No Bears gear. A little disappointed, but what did you think of Super Bowl?
The first half was pretty exciting. Second half was just dominated by the defense. And I, as soon as the Rams got that ball, like 6 minutes left, I'm like, they're going to score.
Truthfully, I loved this Super Bowl. I thought this was exactly the Super Bowl we needed to end this awesome postseason. Another games that was decided by 3 points. I thought that was fitting. As soon as I saw that the Rams got the ball 16-20, I was like, another 3-point game. Here we go. Sure enough, the biggest story, though, it's saddest, really. OBJ goes down, torn ACL, is likely going to be out to begin next season. He's also a free agent, but up until that point, he was having a really dominant game.
Yeah, him and Cooper Kupp looked really good in that game. I mean, granted, they're going up against Eli Apple. So what do you expect?
Yeah, so I mean, that's something that we'll start kind of breaking down is where do both these teams go from here? But kind of some housekeeping before we get into that part of this. So today is going to be all Super Bowl related. Next week, possibly before next week, it'll just be dependent on what day we release it. Sam and Gars will be doing a mock draft. At some point, it'll probably be pre-recorded and just released in place of this episode on next Thursday. So that'll be done. I will be out of it. I will be just focusing on a lot of UFC news as we get to a very chaotic March, as well as kind of continuing the business of Winners Only Club. We'll also probably have maybe a short episode with me on it, just so we can kind of cover some news, because when it comes to news, I feel a lot more comfortable having it be me and Sam opposed to Gars. No offense to him, I just feel like I follow it a little bit closer. And then let's real quick break down the picks that was supposed to be for Sam to be wearing Bears gear today. Heads or tails, you ended up winning with that heads call. I ended up winning which team won the coin toss, though, with the Bengals. So we pretty much were at even there. Then you took a lead with first TD scorer being under the number 23.5. Obviously, it was OBJ number 3. Then I ended up coming back to get the win by having the color of Gatorade be blue that was poured on top of their coach, as well as the MVP was no other than Cooper Kupp, which made it a wide receiver that won the award, which was kind of what I was hoping I would get anyway, because I didn't think it was going to be a quarterback in this game.
I mean, I think it should have been Stafford over Kupp, but
well, you're not a voter on these awards, so I liked the chances of having a wide receiver win this award. I actually bet it on our sports book that I was able to bet. It was a nice plus 350. I thought it was an easy bet. I also bet on blue because I wanted to double down. So easy money for me. As for the actual skill of the game, didn't do too well betting there outside of having Rams money line.
yeah. And I guess on a little bit of news too. Have you heard the possibility of McVay did say today that he is returning for next season to run it back? I know there was talk about him possibly retiring, as well as Aaron Donald, which I haven't heard anything about.
Aaron Donald,
if he retires,
yeah, I mean, there's two sides of that though, because Aaron Donald carries a huge cap hit. Now, obviously, that's not the guy you want to lose on this team, but it would free up some money. On the other hand, what does he now have to achieve? Really nothing in my mind.
Unless they want to run it back and win back-to-back Super Bowls, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Rams would take the money and arguably the greatest defensive player of the past decade.
Yeah.
Over him retiring and just walking away at what? I think like 31.
Yeah, he's only 8 years into the league. So I think he would be turning 31 maybe, or he just turned 31, whatever the case may be. But I actually like the chances of him retiring, to be 100% honest, just because he's already a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's now got the Super Bowl championship.
I think he's a 7-time All-Pro.
7-time first-team All-Pro. I believe the only season he wasn't an All-Pro was his rookie season.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he's a Hall of Famer.
At this point, yeah, he's an eight-year vet that's going to be a lock-on first ballot Hall of Famer. That doesn't happen too often. I like his chances to kind of say like, hey, like let me retire on top because that's what he is. He is only 2 sacks away from 100 sacks. That would be the only other thing that maybe he would want to achieve, but does he really care that much? Probably not. He's not catching the all-time record because he is a defensive tackle. He's already probably known as a top 3 defensive tackle of all time. So I mean, I don't see where he would have to move. Like, I don't see why he wouldn't want to retire.
Or he wouldn't want to retire.
Well, I see it like he also seems to be a very smart and conscious guy, which when we're talking football, we are talking a lot of guys that leave their careers, end up having head injuries later on down their career. He's 8 seasons. He's missed 2 games, and it wasn't because of injury. It was because of personal reasons. So I think one of them was like his kid getting born, and another one was a death that he wanted to just kind of clear his mind. So the 2 games that he missed, not a big deal. He can escape healthy. He can escape the top of the game. I see him retiring and
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
taking a
plus
job
with
with an ESPN or a Fox Sports because they're not going to not hire him.
yeah, plus the fact that he is a defensive lineman, his job is literally to hit the other guy, another 300-pounder's head.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bring this into race, but for every company that's trying to hire a black man, Aaron Donald fits every single criteria. You see how many offensive and defensive linemen are already on these TV shows. He could be in the next generation of Fox pregame reporters. He could be in a lot of conversations here. He could be, who knows what his play announcing would be. He would probably be an upgrade from whatever ESPN has on Monday Night Football.
He'd 100% be an upgrade over Booger McFarland.
Who knows if he wants to start a business? Who knows what his long-term goals are? I see him kind of walking away.
Plus, I think he's what, making around 25 to like $28 million a year off his deal.
Oh yeah,
so money's not going to be an issue for him.
He's set for life. He might actually end up making more money outside the NFL at this point, just because of how big of a name he is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to be like The Rock, which let's talk about that. Did you see that pregame little Rock thing that he did?
Well, yeah, it's he essentially tried to do a WWE promo at the start of it.
It was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, it went on way too long, first off. If it was just like, hey, here are the Bengals and here are the Rams, let's play some football, fine. But he made it like a 5-minute presentation, which no one cared about. He hasn't had the most positive news stories about him recently. So the NFL, I don't understand why they even tried to do that.
I mean, it's because he's literally the most famous person in the world.
I guess, but I mean, like, it just went out for way too long. I thought it was really stupid. But that's LA for you.
I mean, we want to talk about real stupid. Was all the celebrities out there being hypocrites?
For what?
Oh, them all being about, we got to mask up, and then the entire game they're showing them, and they're just standing real close to someone and talking without a mask on.
Yeah, like, did anyone think that they would be wearing a mask? You had LeBron James drinking and dancing when OBJ scored. Not a single person.
I didn't think so, but I just thought it was funny that the NFL kept showing them.
I would say 1% of that stadium had a mask on.
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I don't care that they do it. I just more care that the fact that they are preaching for other people to do it and just don't follow what they're saying.
I agree with that. Let's talk about the halftime show before we get really into the game. Halftime show was awesome. I know there are people that are mad at Eminem. I'm not one of those people, just because it had nothing to do with the flag. Like, if the flag was out there and he's kneeling, then yeah, I have an issue. But just because he took a knee, who cares?
I mean,
it's Eminem.
It's not one of my more memorable Super Bowl halftime performances I've seen.
Oh, see, I put it up there. I do put it up there.
I mean, I still think the best I've seen is either the Rolling Stones, I think, for a cup or early 2000 Super Bowl. I want to say that was Pittsburgh, Arizona. And then also obviously the Pittsburgh Green Bay one with the Black Eyed Peas.
I didn't like that one. I do remember that because I was in Lake Geneva for that. Granted, the Bears lost this game, but Prince was awesome. Super Bowl 41, I believe it was. And then, I mean, everyone gives the Shakira and J-Lo very low ratings. I didn't think it was that bad. I could have been a lot worse.
I mean, I think I would have liked it more if they didn't have five performers all signed up for it.
Well, that's Dr. Dre though, because like if you have Dr. Dre, like how many songs can he really do? With him being part of NWA and being a producer mostly, it would be like having a DJ out there. So I mean, I get it, and plus it was like LA as a spectrum. You had like a big like age range of where they came from, where they got to, and then Eminem's just kind of there because he's Dr. Dre's like golden child. Because I mean Kendrick Lamar definitely represents new age Compton, as where then you have Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, really representing like the old school West Coast hip hop. But I also didn't like that Kendrick Lamar like really can't sing any of his songs with being on national television.
Yeah.
So
I
had
Kanye on it.
He was at the game. I was really shocked that he wasn't. The fact that we got 50 Cent randomly on there was kind of stupid.
Well, let's talk about that. Him starting upside down.
How long was he up there for?
He couldn't have been up there the entire performance up until then.
My guess is that he was originally strapped, like just looking down. That way he wasn't losing all the blood to his head.
Or he was at least like strapped in and like sitting up there and able to lower himself down.
Right.
But yeah, he was sitting down there and just having all the blood rush to his head. If it did happen that way, he put on a hell of a performance for probably being lightheaded as fuck.
Right. So I mean, I don't mind that he was there. It was just kind of like, why is 50 Cent performing? Big winner.
Probably my favorite out of everyone was 50.
See, I would say Snoop. I love Snoop Dogg. And then in terms of commercials, the big winner of the day is cryptocurrency. Bitcoin really made its presence. If you guys didn't sign up on the Coinbase barcode, you lost out on $35 free that they gave everyone. If you watched the crypto.com LeBron commercial and then went to their Twitter, there was an alternate video where then you had to find a barcode or the QR code inside a new video, which was awesome. And it entered you in a chance to win an NFT, as well as taught you a little bit about what the future of currency is. Granted, it has gone up like 7% since Super Bowl Sunday. So crypto, big winner. Crypto holders, probably bigger winner.
Oh, did you see that the QR code crashcrypto.com?
Did it?
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of makes a lot of sense because here, I'll tell you what my Coinbase is at right now. Granted, I've kind of been trading up and down a little bit, but for the $35, because I wasn't a Coinbase member before, it's now up to $38. So a little $3 free, really $38 for free, and I'm probably just going to keep it there for long term because I think it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Also, I will mention, I know we were off the topic, but the LA mayor is fucking dumb.
Yeah, no, I mean, California government, not great.
Well, did you see his response for being unmasked for both of them?
No.
He had a mask down here and said that he was holding his breath.
Oh, I did.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's really stupid. Did you see the parade this morning at all?
No, I turned on NFL.com or NFL Network and I saw a little bit of it. I just saw that Stafford was talking at it.
Notice the camera angle they used because there was like no one there.
Well, did you see what Barstool did when they were interviewing people? They're like, "Oh, are you gonna go celebrate?" He's like, "I mean, it's gonna be a party. I really don't care too much."
Yeah, no, I mean, LA
The
doesn't
Rams won.
LA does not actually care about football. And it's
No,
a
they do
joke that
not.
there's two teams over there. San Diego, I feel most bad for them. Just because they
I
did
kind
care
of
about
feel
the
bad
market.
for St. Louis as well
St. Louis is gonna get another team though eventually.
when they expand to probably
36.
you think 36, and then they're gonna do
There's no other way with making the divisions work out.
yeah, because you're gonna have to do 6 divisions of 6.
Uh-huh.
Either that or they're gonna have to add 8 teams.
And that's probably less likely. I just
Which
don't think
yeah,
there's
I don't think they have the market to. I
I
don't think
mean,
there's 8 markets that could really hold up because you're gonna have the London team that's probably gonna be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
oh wait, we didn't talk about 2026. Did you hear what that Super Bowl is gonna be?
London or it's in
London.
London.
London. Why are we doing a Super Bowl in London? That game's gonna have to take place at like noon. That's so dumb. However, the NFL did announce that they're going to do a 4-game series, 1 game a year in Germany for the next 4 years. It's going to alternate between Frankfurt and Munich, which I mean, I don't hate it, but I just hope that if you play in that game, you have
You
to
have a
have a
bye
bye week the week after. Like that's really just what it comes to. If the NFL was to go to 2 bye weeks, as soon as we kind of start hearing more about 18-game seasons, then I would almost hope that you get a bye week before and after.
I mean, I'd prefer for me. Most teams I think would prefer the bye week after, but
And it better be West or East Coast teams playing in these games.
I'm hoping it's Seattle. I hope it's Seattle San Francisco divisional game.
See, like that'd be so dumb. Like if you have like, I'm trying to think of like good. Maybe the Patriots play the Panthers in the next 4 years over there, then fine. It's not the latest game. That game will still have to take place like 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Well, they're probably still going to do it the way they do London teams, where if it's a team that I think hasn't made the playoffs in the last 3 years.
Oh God, I
That's
remember
why the Bears were in there a
The
couple
Bears
years
Raiders
ago
played out there not too long ago.
against wasn't it against the Raiders?
Yeah, terrible game. It also sucked to have to watch it at 10 a.m. That's one of my biggest issues. And now you're going to go to Germany, which is another, I believe, 2 hours. So
I think England and Germany are the same time zone, or at least close.
maybe it's 1 hour, but I think there is a difference.
I probably
But
won.
whatever. I don't hate the move. The logistics of it don't make sense to me. If you send a preseason game over there, all for it. Send as many preseason games anywhere in the world. I don't care. But other news around the league, I don't think there really is any. I mean, other than coaching hires, which that'll be still another separate episode.
Yeah.
Into the game again, Joe Burrow not needing surgery. That's nice.
Yeah.
That was a scary situation.
Did you see that Burrow didn't even go near the doctors afterward or when he came off? Or did you hear that? Because he's like, I didn't want to come out of this game.
You know who that kind of reminds me of, which kind of is going to bring this full circle, is a young Matt Stafford. Like Matt Stafford plays through anything, including this game. Like he could have been taken out with his ankle.
Yeah, I still remember when Stafford had that broken collarbone.
Yeah, and threw
And
a
he came in
game-winning
and threw the
touchdown.
game-winning touchdown his rookie year.
Yep. I love Stafford. I'm so happy Stafford got a ring. However, I'm already kind of mad that they started making Matt Stafford to Aaron Rodgers comparisons.
Well, that's because they both have one ring.
Now, this is where it kind of is going to be funny because, granted, he sat behind Favre for many years. And then injuries have been kind of in both players' careers. But with him being 3 years less in the league total, now, again, Favre, he's only 6,000 yards under Rodgers, and he's younger. So, I mean, he's probably going to pass him up in passing yards.
Yeah, if he can stay healthy. Also, with the Stafford thing, did you see Les Snead's shirt at the parade?
No.
Fuck the draft picks.
Well, yeah, they should be saying that. I believe right before this last week, we were saying if the Rams win, you have won the trade. Like, there's no question about it. Your team is going to be probably dog shit for a long time as soon as the cap really starts to hit them. But you won the trade. It doesn't matter what the Lions do. The Lions could win 5 Super Bowls with all these draft picks they're compiling. It won't matter. You got what you wanted. This was your entire goal. Congratulations to the Rams, because they weren't doing that with Jared Goff.
I mean, they got to one with Goff.
Yeah, but they weren't going to win this game. I do think Stafford was a major part of everything. They wouldn't have beaten the Buccaneers. They wouldn't have probably even beat the 49ers. They definitely don't beat the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Stafford was the MVP of the game.
They probably don't win the division without Stafford. So
yeah, I agree.
No, I this definitely makes Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer. Richard Sherman does not agree. Now I guess, like, yeah, Stafford's a one-time Pro Bowler, doesn't have an MVP, but when it's all
Has
said and
3 career playoff wins.
when it's all going to be said and done, he's going to have a way better resume than Phillip Rivers. And people want to put Phillip Rivers in. He's not going to probably have as many Super Bowls unless they go win this next one, where then he'll be tied with Eli Manning. I consider Eli Manning probably a first ballot guy. He's going to be right there statistically with the greatest of all time.
I mean, if he can stay healthy, and because his left tackle's retiring.
Yes.
I mean, if Donald retires.
No, I don't think that's why I'm saying I don't think he'll have as many as Eli. Do I think Matt Stafford's a first ballot guy? Probably not.
I can see him trying to sneak in.
He's got to get in. I'm trying to pull up his numbers. He was all AP Comeback Player of the Year. I know that kind of award is a little watered down. All time though, he is 11th in passes completed, 12th in attempts, 12th in passing yards, 12th in passing touchdowns. Passer rating, he's currently at 21st. He was sacked the 17th most times in NFL history. Bad stat, he's 4th all-time in pick sixes, 4th all-time in passing yards per game. I mean, it's just 3rd all-time in passes completed per game, 25th in passing completion percentage. I just think it's too hard not to put him in.
Yeah, I mean, the Super
These
Bowl
numbers are
definitely
going to
helps.
grow. Maybe not the per game stats, but like he's going to throw more touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it helps him that he got the Super Bowl. It helps him that he actually has a playoff win under his resume now.
And more, yeah, it's obviously now more than a playoff win.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm happy for him.
There's a lot of Hall of Famers that have never.
Players.
There's a lot of Hall of Famers that have never won a Super Bowl. So to be like he didn't win all AP All Pro, well, look who he was competing against for these awards.
I mean, he has as many Super Bowls as the non-Husk version of Peyton Manning.
Huh?
Peyton Manning, when he won that one with the Broncos, was a shell of himself.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, Jim Kelly, he's great. Doesn't have a Super Bowl.
He has as many Super Bowls as the all-time great Jim McMahon.
No, Jim McMahon has 2.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he won as a backup to Favre with the
Love
Packers.
to see it.
But yeah, no, he's got to go in. You always say like Aaron Donald, he was going to go to the Hall of Fame regardless, but the Super Bowl puts him in probably first ballot. So if the Super Bowl carries that much weight, then I would say Stafford's in.
Yeah. And let's move on to the game.
Yeah, I mean, we really have to get into that. Winners and losers. Eli Apple's probably the easiest answer. That guy is blind, sucks, is the most overhyped player I've ever heard.
I got to say the major winner is Sean McVay.
Yeah. I mean, he's the youngest head coach in the league still. I believe is the youngest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl. Did he beat out Tomlin for that award?
Yeah, I believe so. He also he literally called a game and won that with one weapon on offense.
Yeah. I mean, the people that are questioning his play calling have to remember that pretty much the entire team was out.
They
In
had
the biggest
OBJ
game of the
out.
season.
Van Jefferson did not play well. He had his number 2 receiver, Tyler Higbee, was out.
Oh, to clarify, both Van Jefferson and OBJ were having babies. Like what?
With the same woman.
Who knows? Robert Woods obviously out, Higbee out. Your number one tight end was Bryson Hopkins, which before this I didn't even know he was on an NFL roster.
And then there's also the fact that you didn't have a running game all day.
No, they shut that down.
Yeah,
And
I think Sean McVay's the big winner here.
And that's where he's going to get criticized, is he stuck to the running game. But if you don't stick to the running game, it's going to give the Bengals defense a big advantage. So I like.
Plus, you don't have any of that play action stuff that was working for him.
Yeah, because you had to make it a threat that maybe you would at least run the ball. So even if it was a 1-yard gain, you at least put it on the defensive coordinator for the Bengals to say, we're not afraid to run the ball. We know it might not work, but like as soon as you just forget about the run, we're probably going to run the ball. So he did a great job, I think, calling this game.
I agree.
As for Zach Taylor, I think he's going to learn a lot from this. He's still got a very talented young team. His play calling was a little questionable.
Yeah, he was extended to through the 2026 season now because of that Super Bowl run.
As he should be.
Yeah.
Cincinnati waited a while. Thank God that their owner stuck with it, because they could have easily fired him.
Paul Brown is he kept Marvin Lewis for over a decade.
Is it Paul or Mike?
Paul, I think. Oh, wait, it might be Mike now. Yeah, Paul Brown Stadium. I think it's probably Mike.
So yeah, Mike Brown. I think it's Mike. Mike Brown, good for him to stick with it. He's also known as the cheapest owner in
pro sports,
all of NFL, possibly all of pro sports. So I think that kind of brings it on to Joe Burrow to kind of say like, hey, we're going to need to open up these checkbooks, because it's not a guarantee that Joe Burrow would want to stay there if they don't improve on this offensive line.
Because... Oh yeah, I think you have to spend your first, second, third round pick free agency building up this O-line.
If they had an offensive line, this team wins a Super Bowl, because Joe Mixon looked unbelievable.
Yeah, he did.
Now Joe Mixon's health moving forward is still going to always be a question for me. Will he be able to do that again? I think you do need another complimentary back that's not Sam J. P. Ryan. Not that he didn't play well, but he's just not good enough if Mixon were to go down.
Yeah, and those receivers were torching those Rams cornerbacks for that first half. A guy who is kind of a loser in this game, I think, was Jalen Ramsey.
He was exposed, which makes me wonder how many games do they put Jalen Ramsey on these wide receiver twos that he's clearly going to be better than? Because T. Higgins, while he did get away with a pretty clear pass interference, still showed it that he was way superior. And then that doesn't even say what Chase was able to do. There's video of that last play where luckily they got to Joe Burrow, because if they didn't, he was throwing it up for Jamar Chase, who had beaten him clearly, pretty much broke the ankles of Jalen Ramsey, and that game would have been lost.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Donald saved the game for him. But yeah, I think the loser of this game was probably Jalen Ramsey. I mean, that should have been a pass interference call, but those are missed literally every single game. You can say that there was stuff missed from the Rams side of the field, plus that terrible pass interference call on Logan Wilson down in that red zone.
Yeah, and that's another thing. NFL officiating needs to get better.
They had 2 penalties going into that final drive, and I think there was 2 holding calls and 3 pass interference, or 2 pass interference calls in the red zone.
I thought it was 4 calls because I thought they doubled it in the final drive.
There's the 2 holding calls, and then I think there was 2 pass interference calls as well.
Former players that have played in the Super Bowl have said, like, the Super Bowl, you can kind of get away with a little bit more. but you can't just start calling those calls
They didn't
when,
call all game.
yeah, like that really changed the game.
Well, it was going to be 4th and goal if that one on Cam Akers isn't called.
Yeah, and I did not like the touchdown that got reversed due to offsetting penalties. I thought that was really bad. I thought
Well,
that
that's
was
the rule.
I thought that was a targeting because Cooper Cup, I mean, that could have knocked him out of the game, and then they probably don't win this game because Cooper Cup, I think the pass interference in the end zone was fine. He did have his arms around him. I thought that was clear use of the rule, but my God, like there needs to be a bigger punishment for that type of hit because he was defenseless. I mean, like that, it almost like immediately brought me to the Antonio Brown Vontez Perfect hit.
Or the Danny Trevathan at Devontae Adams hit.
Yep. Could be funny. They could be teammates next year. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like this game a lot. I think the Bengals fans should be really excited about the future, as long as they can protect Joe Burrow, which should be a very clear thing that they need to address. And I think there's a lot of offensive line talent in this upcoming draft, correct?
Yeah, there's a decent amount of there's a couple of top guys at the interior offensive line, and then I think tackle. I think there's about like 5 or 6 guys that are around first round talents, and then I think it kind of drops off after that. But if you're the Bengals, because free agency is before the draft, so they're gonna know what they're gonna need.
Yeah.
Plus,
And
there's
they
not
might be able to trade up.
There's not. Well, yeah. There's also not going to be any tackles that are probably studs that get to free agency, just because people lock those down. If you find a good tackle, you lock them down.
One of the guys from San Francisco is supposed to be a free agent, and it doesn't sound like he wants to resign.
Mike McGlinchey?
No, the other one.
Not Trent Williams. He got a massive deal.
No, it wasn't Trent. I don't know. He was an offensive lineman. He was going to hit free agency, and I think Brandon Sheriff still is going to hit free agency.
Well, yeah. Because they franchise tagged him, I think, the last 2 years for Sheriff, which he might be a good spot in Cincinnati, because that right guard position was probably lost in the game.
Sad. I mean, there'll be a team that is addressing the O-line, same as the Bears, same as probably I'm trying to think what other teams have really bad O-lines.
There's a lot.
I feel like half the league has a bad O-line. It's a position that's constantly changing.
Well, that's because all that practice time and the fact that in college they're all running pro or spread style offenses, so all they're doing is pass protection. They're not actually learning the fundamentals of it.
No, and that's why you see a lot of these guys from like Alabama succeed, Georgia succeed, just because they run a real offense.
Yeah, they don't run a spread offense.
Notre Dame's another big one.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, as boring as Wisconsin football can be at times, they develop their players for the pro game.
And Michigan. I got to give Harbaugh credit.
A lot of the Big Ten schools, really.
Yeah.
So it was a fun game. Anything else you want to kind of note on?
I think, Bengals fans, you should be excited for the future. If you can get some offensive line help, I think Joe Burrow showed a lot in this game on why people were so excited about him coming into the game. If his O-line could protect him, I think he was sacked, six or 7 times in that second half.
Yeah.
If you cut those in half, I think the Bengals win that game.
I'm declaring a war, by the way. I'm declaring a war on Justin Herbert fans. I had people messaging me after the Super Bowl saying Justin Herbert wouldn't have lost this game. What? Are you kidding me? Justin Herbert didn't get to the playoffs. And I would say that his team was as talented, if not more, than the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, Herbert had what? Keenan Allen, Eckler, Cook,
Mike
Williams.
Mike
His
Williams.
O-line, they started actually building it up. His defense was probably better than what Burrow had.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'd probably take T. Higgins, Boyd, and Chase, and probably Mixon over their weapons.
I mean, I don't know.
But
Keenan Allen is probably the best slot receiver, or probably one of the best slot receivers in the NFL.
I'm saying as a group.
Oh yeah. I mean, Mike Williams is a stud as well, which they're probably losing him in free agency.
Because I would probably take Eckler over Mixon just slightly, just because of how big of a receiving threat he can be. And which
Plus,
another
I'd probably take Uzama over a 34-year-old Jared Cook.
moving forward, yeah, but I don't know
because
if
Uzama was out that game.
in that all season. I think I would almost have Jared Cook. If I was just doing it for that last season, I'm probably taking Jared Cook just because of how experienced he is. And now that's gonna be the next thing is as soon as he gets a good O-line, they're gonna say, well, look at what Burrow has around him. He has this great O-line. So from this point forward, I'm an anti-Chargers fan. I'm an anti-Justin Herbert fan. They're now dead to me. We've canceled them out. Chargers suck. LA sucks. Just more reason to hate them.
I mean, the Burrow situation kind of reminds me a little bit of what Luck had to deal with his first couple years in the league. Granted, he's got farther than Luck did, but this O-line's not any. I think this O-line might be worse than Luck's.
I mean, like how? Like how is it that like how could someone possibly say that Justin Herbert's better still?
I mean, numbers wise, he has put up better numbers than than Burrow, but granted, he also had over half a season more than him at this point. And Burrow, I think, he's the first quarterback to make the Super Bowl after being the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
The O-line alone should end this conversation.
Yeah.
But no, so I'm an anti Justin Herbert guy. Very much pro Joe Burrow. Love Joe Burrow. Have said that for 2 years now. Loved him at LSU. Did not like Justin Herbert out of college. So I don't know.
Herbert coming out of college, his last game was destroying the Badgers in the Rose Bowl.
It doesn't do it for me. I didn't see Justin Herbert out there holding a national championship trophy.
It was also
did he even win the Pac-12?
Well, to make the Rose Bowl, he has to win the Pac-12.
Did he? I know
the Rose Bowl's the winner of the if they don't make the college football playoff, it's the winner of the Big Ten and Pac-12.
Yeah, but USC didn't make it in that year.
USC's been down for a decade.
I thought they had a good year, the year that Joe Burrow went to the national championship. But regardless,
they had a quarterback for a decade.
That's true. Regardless, LSU winning the SEC, they had to play teams like Georgia and Alabama. So as much as I love Utah, that's who he was facing. So I'm all the way up on Burrow, all the way down on Herbert. Bold take for next season. Chargers come in last place in the AFC West.
I don't know. I think it depends on if the Broncos can trade for a quarterback, which I heard today they might be trying to shop Judy for picks.
I'm trying to think of where he could go, not many places.
I mean,
and like what type of picks are we talking?
Probably like a second, maybe a third.
Third, maybe.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind on the Packers. I think Judy would do really well in a Matt LaFleur offense.
We'll get to this next week, but we'll talk about the Packers trying to give Rodgers $90 million.
Yeah.
Because that's stupid. That's everything I got on Super Bowl. So unless you have anything that comes to mind right now, we'll sign off.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have. Honestly, a great season. Unfortunately, the Packers did not win this, not even make it to the Super Bowl or win it, but I can't complain about how the playoffs played out. And it was a great NFL season. I think it shows why the NFL is the top sport in America by far.
And I hope that everyone that was out drinking, having a good time in whatever city they were at, did go to hotels.com for a hotel the week of the Super Bowl. Hotels.com. Thank you so much again for helping us and promoting us and sponsoring these episodes. So we'll see you guys next week. And next week, we should have a Gars and Sam mock draft 1.0, as we'll call it. And then moving forward past that, we'll have some articles from Gars releasing the Gars big board. Top prospects coming out of college. Stop laughing right now.
Kyle Hamilton's number one.
A lot of guys that'll be names to watch throughout the college football season. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
Yep. See you next time.